The Galactic War Games were the biggest event in the known universe. Every cycle, the most powerful empires sent their greatest minds to compete. It wasn't about strength or firepower. It was about strategy. No killing, no real weapons, only simulated battles fought in enormous holographic arenas. The rules were strict. The battles tested speed of thought, creativity, and ability to adapt. Each year, billions across the galaxy tuned in to watch their champions outwit one another. This year was no different until the humans arrived. It was the first time Earth had been invited. No one expected much from them. They were newcomers, barely noticed by the greater galaxy. Their ships were small. Their technology was decades behind the major powers. And as for famous tacticians, humans didn't have any that the galaxy had ever heard of. When the human delegation walked into the arena for the opening ceremony, laughter rippled through the stands. Whispers turned into open mockery. They looked so serious. For a species that won't last one round, do they even know how to use a battle map? Be they're here just to watch the real competitors? The alien teams came dressed in shining armor, wearing emblems of their mighty fleets. The humans came in plain uniforms, navy blue jackets, with no medals or grand displays. The first match was announced. The humans would face the Zirith, an insectoid race known for lightning-fast attacks and flawless coordination. The crowd didn't even pretend to be neutral. They were already calling it an easy win for the Zirith, the holographic battlefield. Formed around the players in asteroid belt simulation, the teams had to capture and hold 3 resource stations scattered among the rocks. Whoever controlled the majority for 10 minutes would win. The starting signal flashed. The Zirith launched their drones immediately, moving in perfect formation. The human ships moved slower, almost lazily. To the crowd, it looked like inexperience. The commentators started picking apart their weak positioning. But then, something strange happened. One of the Zirath drones stopped moving, then another, then 3 more. The commentators fell silent for a moment, confused. On the big screen, it became clear the humans had released tiny electromagnetic mines into the asteroid field. That was against the spirit of the rules, but not the rules themselves. The crowd gasped. The Zirith tried to adapt, but their perfect formation broke apart as they struggled to avoid the mines. That's when the humans struck fast, aggressive, and completely unpredictable. Within minutes, the humans had captured 2 stations and were fortifying the 3rd. The Zirith couldn't regain control in time. The match ended with a decisive human victory. The stadium was stunned. "Did they cheat?" one commentator whispered. "No," another replied slowly. "It's not cheating. It's bending the rules." By the time the human captain left the stage, the whispers had already begun. "They're dangerous. They don't play fair. They'll do anything to win." Alien empires weren't sure whether to be impressed or worried. Later that night in the human preparation room, Captain Rena Torres stood over the battle map, her arms crossed. "That was risky," her second-in-command, Lieutenant Harris, said quietly. "The Council had seen that as sabotage. We'd be out of the games." Rena smirked. "The Council wrote the rules. We just read them better than anyone else." Harris shook his head. "The others won't take this lightly. I'm counting on it," Rena replied. Meanwhile, in the council chambers, representatives from dozens of species argued over the day's match. The Zirath ambassador was furious. "They've shown their true nature," he hissed. "Humans are tricksters. They'll twist every rule until this competition is meaningless." A calm voice from the Lurian delegate interrupted. "Or perhaps they've simply reminded us that war isn't fair. Perhaps we've been playing games for too long." The room fell silent. The war games were supposed to be safe, but everyone knew the galaxy's political tensions were rising. Real conflicts might be coming, and if humans were willing to fight like that in a game, what would they do in an actual war? The next morning, the headlines were everywhere. Humans shock galaxy with unorthodox tactics. Newcomers or rule breakers? You decide. Are humans the most dangerous competitors yet? The humans didn't respond to the rumors. They just prepared for their next match. in the alien camps. However, a quiet change had begun. Teams were now studying the human moves frame by frame, searching for weaknesses. Others were planning countermeasures. But what they didn't realize was that the humans had more tricks, ready tricks, no one in the galaxy had ever seen before. And as the second match drew closer, one thing became clear. The galaxy had underestimated Earth, and Earth had no plans to play nice. The second strike, the alien fleets were ready this time. After the first match, everyone thought the humans' win had been a fluke, a lucky break caused by confusion in the rules. The galactic commentators called it a clever accident. The other teams whispered among themselves, convinced that humans couldn't do it twice. The arena for the second match was a massive asteroid field, hundreds of spinning rocks, big enough to hide entire fleets. It was the perfect place for ambushes and traps. The dominant favorites for this round were the Kaishari tall, insect-like warriors known for their patience and precision. They had studied every battle in Wargames history. Their strategy was flawless. The Kashari commander even sent a broadcast before the match began. This time, human luck will run out. When the signal to start echoed through the arena, the Kashari fleet moved in perfect formation, scanning every rock for enemies. Their ships had better scanners, faster engines, and more firepower. In every measurable way, they were superior. The humans didn't move. At first, everyone thought they were frozen or their ships had malfunctioned. The human fleet just sat between two large asteroids doing nothing. The commentators mocked them. Perhaps they're lost already. And maybe they didn't read the map. For 10 minutes, the humans stayed completely still. No shots fired, no movement, no signals. The Kashari commander grew impatient. They ordered their fleet forward, ready to surround the humans. And that's when the humans finally moved, but not toward the enemy. Instead, they started pushing one of the giant asteroids. No one had seen this tactic before. Wargames rules said ships couldn't attack with non-weapon systems. But moving an asteroid? That wasn't technically against the rules. Humans pushed the rock slowly at first, using small bursts from their engines. The Kaishari didn't take it seriously until the asteroid started spinning faster. The humans had calculated the exact angle and force needed to sling it like a giant weapon. The rock smashed into one Kashari scout ship, disabling it instantly. It wasn't just one rock. The humans had prepared 3. Within minutes, the Kaishari's perfect formation was shattered. Their scanners were useless, blocked by debris. Their ships crashed into each other trying to dodge the incoming boulders. From the viewing platforms, alien spectators were stunned. That's not strategy, that's sabotage. One shouted, "No, it's genius," another replied. In less than half an hour, the human fleet, still mostly untouched, cornered the Kashari flagship. The rules said the match ended when a flagship was captured, and the humans boarded it without firing a single direct shot. The scoreboard flashed. Humans win round 2. The arena fell silent for a moment, and then the whisper started. Again, they cheat, they bend the rules, they don't fight fair. But deep down, even the most bitter alien commanders began to realize something dangerous. If humans could think like this in a game, what would they do in a... The third round of the Galactic Wargames was always the most dangerous. It was called the Maze, a shifting battlefield of energy walls, moving platforms, and false signals, a place designed to confuse even the best tacticians. Many fleets lost here, not because they were destroyed, but because they became hopelessly lost until the timer ran out. After 2 human victories, the galaxy was done laughing. Now they were watching closely. Every rival team studied recordings of human tactics, determined to predict their next move. This time, the opponents were the Valari, a reptilian species famous for their patience and trap setting. The Valari had never lost the maze in Wargames history. Their strategy was simple: lure the enemy into dead zones, surround them, and cut off their escape. The match began with the Valari doing exactly that.
Ow.
They spread out like hunters, herding the humans toward a dead end. Their ships laid down decoy beacons, making the humans think the exit was in the wrong direction. From the spectator stands, the commentators smirked. Humans are walking right into it. End of the winning streak. But aboard the human flagship, Commander Rin Carter wasn't even looking at the false exit. His eyes were on the map, a constantly changing mess of glowing lines. Every 15 minutes, the walls shift, Carter said calmly. We're not going through the maze. We're making the maze. The human fleet didn't head for the exit. They scattered into tiny groups, each carrying portable energy projectors. These weren't weapons, just navigation tools allowed under the rules. But with some quick engineering tweaks, they became something else entirely: mobile walls. While the Valari chased decoy groups of humans, Carter's crews began changing the battlefield itself. They blocked key passages, redirected corridors, and sealed ambush points, not with firepower, but with manipulation of the maze's energy systems. 15 minutes later, when the arena's automated walls shifted, the Valari found themselves trapped. They couldn't reach the humans, couldn't reach the exit. Worse, their own flagship had been boxed in by the very walls they had planned to use against their enemy. The humans, meanwhile, had a straight, clear path to the finish zone. The scoreboard lit up once again. Humans win round 3. The Valari commander slammed his clawed hand against the control panel. They're not warriors, they're tricksters, he snarled. But among the audience, a new kind of murmur began to spread. It was no longer just they cheat, now it was, they're dangerous. Because if humans could turn the battlefield itself into a weapon, then in a real war, there would be nowhere safe to hide. The Broken Alliance, the Galactic War. Games had never seen anything like it. 3 victories in a row, by a species no one had taken seriously. The humans had gone from the joke of the tournament to the threat everyone wanted gone. By the time the 4th round approached, whispers in the halls of the Council's great arena had turned into full-blown meetings. Rival commanders who had fought against each other for centuries suddenly agreed on one thing: the humans must lose. This round's challenge was the Ring of Fire, a circular battlefield in open space, surrounded by drifting asteroids and a burning plasma storm. The only way to win was to push the enemy fleet completely out of the ring. No destruction required. Just enough force to drive them beyond the boundary. Individually, none of the alien teams could be sure of beating the humans. But together, they had numbers, speed, and firepower on their side. So the Valari, the insectoid Kytha, and the crystalline Jiren all formed a temporary alliance. 3 fleets, 1 target. The match began with the human ships entering, cautiously scanning the asteroids for cover. Carter already knew something was off. They're not moving against each other, he said, narrowing his eyes. They're waiting for us, D. Then, like a closing net, the 3 alien fleets attacked from all sides. Dozens of ships blasted forward, hammering the humans with waves of plasma and concussion pulses. The force wasn't meant to destroy it. It was meant to shove the human fleet toward the ring's edge. From the commentator stands, alien leaders leaned forward with satisfaction. This is over, one murmured. No strategy can beat raw numbers. But the humans didn't retreat. They advanced. Carter gave the order, full burn, through the Cathar line. Now, the alien alliance had expected the humans to fall back under pressure, not to push straight into the most dangerous part of the enemy formation. As the human ships surged forward, they locked magnetic harpoons onto several drifting asteroids. Then the humans did something that made no sense at first. They cut their engines entirely. The momentum of the asteroids, combined with the pull of the magnetic lines, swung the massive rocks directly into the path of the oncoming Valari ships. The asteroids weren't weapons under the rules, but the rules didn't say they couldn't block an enemy's path. The Valari tried to dodge, but the sudden chaos broke the Alliance's formation. The Cathar were forced to pull back, the Giron scattered to avoid collisions. And in that moment of confusion, the humans reignited their engines and shot. Straight through the gap. One by one, the alien ships found themselves driven out of the ring, not by direct attack, but by the humans turning their own momentum against them. When the match ended, Scoreboard flashed again. Humans win round 4. The alliance that had sworn to crush humanity didn't even make it halfway through the round intact. In the VIP stands, alien admirals sat in cold silence. Just bad sportsmanship anymore. This was war thinking. The galaxy was starting to understand something terrifying. In a fight, humans didn't play fair. The 5th round was meant to be the biggest spectacle of the war games, the Black Maze. A vast, artificial asteroid field filled with moving walls, sensor-jamming clouds, and decoy signals. The goal was simple: find the hidden control beacon and hold it for 10 minutes. The audience filled the arena stands, giant holographic screens showing every ship's position. The alien commentators hyped it up, eager to see the humans finally lose. This time, nearly every other team had refused to cooperate with them in pre-match deals. "This is it," one commentator laughed. "No allies, no tricks, just skill. Let's see if Earth can survive without cheating." The match began. Inside the maze, the human fleet moved cautiously, scanning the jamming signals. Carter's voice was calm over comms. "Don't chase the beacons. They'll be decoys. Look for what the rules didn't say about how to find it." But halfway through the game, the simulation's artificial asteroid walls began moving faster than usual. Alarms flashed, not the war game's standard alerts, but real military-grade warnings. Something was wrong. The commentator's voice faltered. "That's not part of the..." Then the lights on the outer rim of the arena flashed red. Emergency code. A pirate raiding force had breached the arena's outer security ring. They weren't playing. They weren't actors. They had real weapons, and they were headed straight for the control systems of the wargame station. The other alien teams froze in confusion. Some thought it was still part of the match. Others argued over whether to keep playing. The humans didn't hesitate. Carter switched comms to the station's emergency channel. "Confirm. This is live combat." "Confirmed." A frantic voice replied. "Security teams are overwhelmed. They've breached Sector 3. Technically, the Wargames rules forbade any change to the match objectives. Carter ignored them. New mission: neutralize hostiles and protect civilians. Let's move." The human ships dropped beacon search entirely and punched out of the maze, cutting through debris and mining drones. While the alien teams bickered over how to respond, the humans were already intercepting the pirate ships. The pirates expected the Wargames fleets to be unarmed. But the humans had quietly modified their simulation weapons to double as real low-power blasters, just within the safety rules energy limit. It wasn't much, but it was enough to cripple engines and disable weapons. Within minutes, they had forced the first wave of pirates to retreat. From the VIP stands, alien leaders stared in shock. The humans weren't just fighting well. They were coordinating with arena security like they'd been expecting this. Once the last pirate ship limped away, the station declared the round void for technical interference. But the audience wasn't thinking about points anymore. They were talking about the way the humans had acted instantly, without permission, without hesitation, and won. In the private war councils that night, alien admirals muttered the same thought. If they can turn a game into a real battle in seconds, what else are they capable of? The lesson the galaxy never forgot: the Wargame's final round should have been the grand ending. A massive, simulated fleet battle in open space. Yes. But after the pirate attack, the mood in the arena had changed. No one was laughing at the humans anymore. Still, most alien teams convinced themselves it had been luck. Real combat isn't the same as strategy, they told each other. The humans just got lucky once. This time, the battlefield was a massive orbital ring around a dead star. Ships could hide in its shadow, use its gravity to slingshot, or set traps in the debris field. The objective: capture the central relay station and hold it for 15 minutes. From the moment the match began, the aliens swarmed toward the station, in predictable formations, hammering each other with simulated blasts. The humans vanished. Carter's fleet split into small groups, scattering into the debris and going completely silent. In the audience, the commentators were baffled. They're not even trying to capture the station. What are they doing? What they were doing was watching, mapping every enemy movement, tracking fuel burn, sensor sweeps, and hidden approaches. They weren't playing the game the way the rules intended. They were playing the people behind the ships. After 20 minutes, two of the strongest fleets had destroyed each other in a furious crossfire. That's when the humans moved. They didn't fly in guns blazing. They hacked into the relay station's maintenance network, a system not listed in the game's official rules but technically still part of the map. By the time the aliens realized, Carter's fleet had already disabled the station's docking clamps and locked every airlock from the inside. From the outside, the other teams tried to force entry. They couldn't. Every access point responded with the same mocking message: "Control is now under Earth's authority." The humans didn't just hold the station for 15 minutes. They held it for the rest of the match, completely unchallenged. When the horn signaled the end, the arena erupted into chaos. Some called it brilliant. Others called it cheating. The rule keepers couldn't even decide because the humans had never technically broken a rule. They'd simply done what no one else thought to do. In the closing ceremony, the Galactic Council leader stepped forward to present the winners. Metal, his voice was tight. "Humans, you have shown creativity, adaptability, and a disturbing willingness to bend the spirit of the game." Carter just smiled. "You call it bending the spirit, call it survival." And that's when the galaxy understood. Humans didn't play fair, not because they were dishonorable, but because they knew the universe didn't play fair either. From that day, the war games were never the same. Every empire rewrote its strategies. And in whispers across military halls and war councils, one truth spread like wildfire. If you fight humans, be ready to fight